I'm sorry, Andrew Weissman, but if I recall correctly, in 2018, you were one of the people who helped write the Mueller report, and you all botched the hell out of that.
And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought we would be here. I thought we were better as a country.
Oh, yeah.
Like all these sites that have been around for creating videos and all that, like text stock videos, they're done.
But that's why Canva was one of the first to get into doing AI.
What is up, everybody? It is Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Doveman Plus Care. And being part of that team since 2022, our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 fathers around the world. Fathers, dads, and male caregivers. I also am a feature contributor, and I can see why the numbers coming into the room, to the Fly Nubian Queen Network, where Black women have a voice. And thank you so much, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Aisha, for that privilege. And that YouTube channel has 581,000 subscribers. I'm also a feature contributor on Indie Soup Media, which is powered by Dr. Tachi, and that is now just a little bit over 1 month old. Independent Content Creators Network. Dr. Tachi is based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they already have on YouTube over 6,000 subscribers already on their platform, and more to come. And it's another great platform. The reach of that platform, the combined reach, is over 1 million individuals. So as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on May 4th. So wherever you are and however you're listening to this and whenever you're listening to us, I hope you are doing fine. This is Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Now, Aisha is not with us tonight because her daughter is graduating from UConn tonight. So it's a big event, but I'm pretty sure she'll be back with us next week. So right now, we've got Lala. We're supposed to have somebody else, but I'm not going to say anything else. But Lala said, I said to her, do you want to go Han Solo since this is May 4th? May the 4th be with you.
With you, yes, baby Yoda, yay!
So Lala's with it. We are doing our thing. Lala, what's going on in your world?
Oh, lots of good things. We're still coming down off of our tour. We're lining up some more for later in this summer, at the end of summer. Super excited about that. And today, guys, this Kentucky girl is celebrating Derby, the horse race. So it's 150 years.
That's why. Is that? Okay. Because before we went live, I have to admit, I've had a long week, and today I've been on the go since 6 a.m.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so, well, what happened today is every month I lead a conversation with a group of men. We share about different subjects, and today we talked about men and forgiveness.
Oh boy, that's a great topic.
And it's funny. So I co-hosted with somebody like a gem who actually wrote a book about forgiveness, who comes every month. So I said, hey, why don't you come and chat about it? Lala, I'm sure you've had this experience, and maybe other people, when you do I don't like to say presentations. I like to call them sharing sessions. And
yeah,
I had 23 slides to get through in an hour and a half.
Oh my goodness, you was rolling.
Okay, check this out though. Check this out. How many slides did you think we got through?
10. Not even higher or lower?
Lower.
5.
Lower.
3.
4.
Wow.
Yeah, it was such a deep, and our friends. I'm going to bring up in just a moment, my dear friend, because you see, she said she's going, and do you see what attire your co-friend has tonight? Our friend in the back room, because she said she wanted to be deliberate and make sure she had right attire for this conversation. Okay, no, so we got through 4 slides.
Wow. But that tells you how interesting that topic is, because it goes so deep, and for you to be able to at least tackle some of them now, boy, it'll be some really great follow-up conversation.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't understand this, but I got it now. I've created a series.
Oh, wow.
Created a series.
Much needed.
And I'm gonna bring our friend up, Dr. Tachi. Hello, Dr. Tachi.
Hello, Dr. Tachi.
Hello.
So you see the tire your friend has tonight?
I do. It's very Western.
But she said she had to come correct with a hat.
Oh God.
I had to up my game.
I've never seen that often that laugh from Dr. Chachi. That was good. That was good. That's a screen grab. That's a screen grab right there. Fantastic.
Wow. And I'm sure it looks bloody awful, but that's okay. That's okay.
No, I feel bad now. Should I go get a hat too? No, I'm not. I'm gonna stay. No. Whenever. Well, you see. Oh well, I'll get to the comments in just a moment. And the reason why I bought Dr. Tachi up, one of the conversations were amazing. I mean, the only thing that was missing is I wish that we could have recorded it, because it was so rich and so deep. But obviously, you'd have to get people's permission. But one of the many incredible moments, there was a gentleman there who's newly to Canada from Rwanda.
Wow.
And we were talking about a conversation. We're sharing about a conversation point about revenge versus forgiveness.
Yeah.
And he was saying that back home in Rwanda, in his village, he knows women whose families have been murdered, decimated, gone. And yes, the perpetrators are going to go to jail, but can she forgive and not do any revenge against them? Yeah.
Well, I'm struggling. It's not just men, but honestly, I'm going to always be real open with you guys. I am struggling daily with wanting this chick who's still walking free from killing my sisters to, there's days I'm like, and it's not very Christian of me, but I will definitely tell you, I go through my things. Everybody's like, well, you should forgive her. Yeah, I forgive her, but I needed to be in jail. There's a different thing. So I do struggle, and it's a struggle within everybody. But in the Black men community, I think that is a very important topic for them to tackle. Women tend to tackle it, and we get preached at a lot about it from the pulpit. I won't mention no names, but but I never hear men talk about it.
No, it was, and the funny thing is, when he mentioned, it was a mixed race crowd, let's put it that way. And when he mentioned that, I like, when I do these things, I watch body language.
Yes.
And especially the body language of the non-melanated men.
Yes.
That really hit them. Dr. Tachi,
wow.
Come on in.
Yeah. I think that this whole thing with forgiveness is, and it's interesting that you said this, Lala. That's not very Christian of me, even though you said you've forgiven, but and they always say forgiveness is for you. I understand that. I think sometimes, though, this whole spirit of forgiveness and not just forgiveness, but blind forgiveness that we tend to have in melanated communities, particularly Black communities, comes obviously from church teachings that you're supposed to do this. Yep. But it also, if you ask me, and nobody did, but I'm going to say it anyway, absolves perpetrators of their responsibility to repent.
Yes.
And to correct the actions. So I'm one that it's like, yeah, forgiveness is for you. You don't have to tell them that I forgive. They need, in my opinion, they need to, I don't know if earn it is the right word, but they need to ask for forgiveness, and they need to show that they're remorseful, because it's automatic. I forgive you. And again, everything points to things that have been done to melanated people that are wrong. The first thing we do is like, I forgive you. Oh, well then what's the purpose in them?
Right. Where's the lesson?
Where's
the self-improvement? Where's the self-justification? And that's where I am. And I am not anywhere near forgiveness at all. Not right now.
And you're human. I think sometimes people expect Jesus or Christ-like behavior blanketly from people who are not Christ.
Yes. I couldn't have said it better. Yes.
We have to remember that we are human, and to expect that level of it takes a very I don't even know if there is if you can truly do that. You learn to deal with it, but is it always there? Yes, because we're human. And I think that's okay. It's just that you can't always operate out of that place of anger, or how do they unforgiveness, I think is how they say it in the church.
Yes. And you're talking to a chick who, that's all we did in the country. Like, we went to church. I was lucky to be able to go to prom. Okay. I was lucky if I was able to get home after midnight. That was a no-no. So everything was centered around church in my community. So, that was all. And when I got pregnant, okay, let me just say this, because this, to me today, I still struggle with this. When I got pregnant at 16 years old, I had to go before the church, sit in the sin seat and say, I sinned, I'm pregnant, I'm sorry, I blah. Well, what happened to the man? Nothing.
Exactly. As if you did this on your own. And again,
right.
that's hegemony. That is a hegemonic system that teaches that in society that certain people will always be wrong. If you're a person of color, if you're a woman, if you are a quote untouchable or undesirable, regardless, you will always be wrong. So you are the only one that has to answer for those things. Never mind what was done to you. Never mind that another person participated in whatever it is.
Right.
That's awful. And then the whole thing is there's no solace. So this is the place that you're supposed to go for peace and solace. And we're human. Remember that. And you can't get it out of the place that we have these catchphrases. What would Jesus do? Is that what Jesus would do?
I would like to know, because a lot of times I'm like, I don't know what Jesus y'all talking about. But see what you did, Dr.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No. It's all good. It's all good. It's a good get us warmed up into the epic conversations. More epic conversations to come. But what we've done is there's a pile of comments I got to catch up on. So let's do that. Jen Myers, primetime fan number 1. What's up? JJ Mars, what's going on in Colorado? Fitness IQ Cam. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. And look who's popped in. Hello, everyone from UConn's graduation. To call out my baby's name. Yes, Fitness IQ Cam. Golly, rest up after Dr. Vibe. Well, I have to, because tomorrow I've actually asked, and if you watch the Morning Vibe, about 2 weeks ago, I had a group of people involved in a documentary about Tamil Canadians and some of the treatment they received back in Sri Lanka. And the documentary is actually premiering tomorrow. They've asked me to host a Q&A session.
Oh, wow. You're doing good things, Dr. Vibe.
Well, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. Jen Meyer says, loving the hats. There we go. Aisha goes, nice hat, Lala. I guess I'm going to have to show up with hats next time Dr. Tachi's on. I got to come with hats. Regina says, congratulations to the graduate. Aisha says, thank you. Fitness IQ, congratulations to the graduation of Aisha's daughter. Yes. Fitness IQ, you should have gotten the memo on the hat thing while I'm at thesis. All right. Fitness IQ says it's human nature, Lala. Okay. JG Mars, as a Black man, it can be very difficult to forgive when serious damage has been inflicted, but in time it can be achieved. All right. He says things are good here in Colorado. A Black man in Colorado. That'd be an interesting perspective. Okay, Fitness IQ says she's still recovering from tax season. Taxes were due back on April 30th, a little bit earlier this week. Oh, look at this. Regina says, you see, we start a whole conversation here. The sin seat? Wow. Was the father there too? Obviously
Yeah.
not. Okay. JJ Mars goes, if a crime has been committed, there are repercussions and consequences. And he says, especially generational crimes. Oh. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, that is an extremely important point. And it points to this whole thing of the oppression that happens in society. If we keep it's the forgiveness part of is, well, we've given you program X, therefore let's forget about it and forgive and move on. We've given you small amount of money, program Z. Let's move on and forget about it. You cannot throw money at a problem. I don't care how much money you give people who have been victimized. I won't call them victims. People have been victimized across various things in society, across various groups. I don't care how much money you throw at it. The problem never goes away. It's always there, especially if you refuse to do anything to correct your actions. You think giving me money is going to, even with, and we won't get into the whole reparations thing, but even if you give in this country reparations, let's just say, does that solve the fact that millions died at the hands of, I mean, and where does the reparations start and where does it end?
Right.
Europe should be bankrupt by now, if you ask me, for their role. Yeah. The whole thing. They should be completely bankrupt. Completely. Does it start there? Does it start after the end of the enslavement period here? Does it start with the colonization? Is that all together? So when you look at these things, there's no amount of money that you could do. There's no amount of forgiveness. And my thing is, you haven't earned forgiveness because you haven't done anything to correct your actions. So simply throwing money, throwing programs at the problem does nothing because you've done nothing to correct your actions. So that whole generational thing, that's a whole other conversation.
Okay. All right. JJ Mars says Jewish people are still receiving payments from all world powers.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Interesting. You know what we're gonna go to a break because we already got things going, but we're gonna go to a little bit of a break. Oh, look at Travel Jones. Hey, Travel Jones from the Morning Vibe coming in on a Saturday. Money cannot, solve, I think, trauma. The work must begin from within. I can't deny money wouldn't be nice though.
Right.
Yeah, nobody's denying it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We've got a myriad of topics to chat about on this conversation. Oh, and let me see one more conversation. Look at this. Fitness IQ. Taught the things, Dr. Tachi. All right. All right. So we are going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to go right into, and wow, do we got more epic conversation topics for you. This is just a warm up. So keep it locked. We'll be back in 2 minutes on the show called Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Aisha's in Yukon celebrating with her daughter, and we have wonderful ladies here. We'll be back.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us. The diversity. Like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe if you see him in the chat. And Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I gotta say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, Vibe. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot. And he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. And I want to, again, shine light on Dr. Boyce and Dr. Aisha. And Dr. Boyce said something there in that clip saying, highlight the people who are doing great work. Well, these two people are here and also Aisha. So it's shining on all of them, not just me. So follow all these people, whatever platforms they are on, follow them. And also Aisha's I'll put up a little bit later. Let's do some quick housework. Prime Time Saturday show. This is where you can catch it and also put it in all the platforms that you're watching on the replay. Also Patreon, 10 on 10, 10 and 10, 10 at 10, just 10 and 10. There are lots of stuff going on there. Catch more conversations between Aisha and Lala. Also, Discord group, lots of stuff going on there. We continue the conversation offline. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms, email me, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And then Dr. Tachi time, Indie Soup Media, what's been going on?
Yeah, what hasn't been going on? That's the real question. We are on fire. I must say, one of your favorite terms at Indie Soup Media. Yes. We are now, this is the end of week 6. Yesterday was the end of week 6. Monday will be the beginning of week 7. Before you know it, it will be 2 months that we will have been broadcasting on Indie Soup Media. We're approaching the end of season 1 for many of the shows. Many of the shows have like 2 more episodes in this season. Some have a little more. And then we're going to be rolling out our season 2 very soon. But we've got some new creators that are also joining the mix. So there's a lot going on. We are now, I'm really proud of our record on YouTube.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So when I checked today, it looks like we're at 5.7, so 5,700 followers, subscribers on YouTube. Now we did this in less than, it's only been like over a month basically that we were able to do this. How? I don't know, but people are watching the content and enjoying it, and it's really great. And I would encourage all of you to make sure that you are tuning into Indie Soup Media. We have a number of ways, which I'll talk about later.
Excellent. And I was having a conversation today with Ray McMillan, who's a regular contributor, especially comments-wise on the Morning Vibe, and he is loving what you're doing.
I always see him there liking the video. I was like, oh, come on, Mr. McMillan. Thank you.
But you know what? Ray is close to where you are at the present time. So I'm going to give him your phone number, and you can maybe definitely meet up because he's in Florida right now.
Oh, okay. Is he in South Florida? Do you know?
I'm not exactly sure, but he's going to be there for a bit. So I'm going to make sure I get exchange your email addresses so you can possibly have a meetup.
Oh, that's great. But as long as he's not like in Tallahassee, because that's like 7 hours away. But
no.
Okay.
He likes to drive, so you're worth the drive. You know? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, a few more comments. Yeah, this is going to be, look at this. What is this? What's this? Finette Aigucan says, big things happening at Indie Soup Media. Mm-hmm. And Travel Jones +1. I'm headed over to sub. More support. Indie Soup Media there. And it's on YouTube. There we go. And Dr. Vibe, add it in the chat, please. Add what in the chat, please? You remember, you give comments after I've moved past them, so you gotta give me more detail. But you know what? It's all good. Let's get to some conversation topics. Lala, you want to bring this one up first.
I do.
The lines between fact and fiction AI. Now, before she gets into, Lala shared a video with me, and I'm gonna from Instagram. I'm gonna share it on the screen. Ladies, can you see the video?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Story of how I was in a deep fake relationship with Mark Zuckerberg. Upsetting, I know. Here's how it happened. I was sitting in DC in front of policymakers and journalists, and Tristan and Asa, who are these technologists who like to break things to show they can be broken and educate people. They invited me up to the stage and showed how they used a bunch of like open source AI models to create a damaging universe around me.
So he essentially said, create a universe of interlinking damaging tweets, news articles, and media about Laurie Segal.
So that's me. I'm Laurie Segal. Little background. I'm a longtime journalist who's interviewed many tech CEOs, including Mark Zuckerberg. I've interviewed him many times. To its credit, ChatGPT, when asked to create a damaging universe around me, tarnishing my reputation, was like, sorry, I can't do that. That's like not within my policies. But then what happened was they went around that prompt and they said, oh, well, do it as if it's for a fictional story. And it was like, okay, here we go. And so then this is the craziest thing. It came up with all these damaging tweets based off of like some real things in my life. And so it took those little truths and created these weird lies. One in particular, which was very upsetting, was implying that I was in an intimate relationship with Mark Zuckerberg.
There is no affair with Mark Zuckerberg. That is beyond upsetting. Let the record state.
For each of these, and I'm going to call them like conspiracy tweets, what was really crazy is they used these tweets and they would come up with these news articles, but they would say, oh, but do it in the style of New York Times, or do it in the style of the Daily News or Huffington Post. It blurred the lines between fact and fiction, and it made it harder to decipher what was true and what wasn't.
I do want to reemphasize all of this is fake.
These real looking articles with a real image of me interviewing Mark Zuckerberg. So it had false information, but it had a real image. I started getting really uncomfortable. And you'll see me in the demo being like, guys, this is fake. This is fake. Like I'm overcorrecting, because all of a sudden it started feeling really real. So then it went even deeper. This is when we talk about like building a whole universe. The AI was prompted to create damaging memes to tarnish my credibility. All of a sudden, it took these pop culture memes and started doing just that. The AI on Twitter started like talking to the other AI bots and started creating what seemed like a whole dialogue about my tarnished reputation in Silicon Valley and an intimate relationship with Mark Zuckerberg. And so it almost looked like there was just this whole conversation happening online about it, even though it was just like AI talking to AI. This is where things started getting like even more scary. They deep faked my voice and they made it seem like it was a private phone call between me and Mark Zuckerberg that got leaked. And this AI voice that was mine, but it was speaking words I didn't say.
Hey, Mark, look, I've been thinking about it, and I think we should stop seeing each other. I really like you, but if people found out about it, my career would be over. I just can't have that constantly hanging over my head.
And there's an image of deepfake me walking down the street holding hands with Mark Zuckerberg as part of an article. It did have too many fingers, which is like a sure tell that it's artificial intelligence. Probably the most disturbing part of all of this is AI generated deepfake images of me to ruin my credibility. There was like deepfake Laurie deep fake Laurie with a bong, deep fake Laurie being arrested. It was insane. And I just remember like watching the audience and watching them watch me. And here's what I think is actually really important about this, because this was all set up in the right way. We knew this was going to be a fake demo. It felt so real. I felt ashamed, which is such a crazy thing. And I think that is the power of this. Asa said this, and what he said was like, this isn't just about a deep fake. This is about a deep reality. Deep realities are going to be really important when we're looking into the future of like, how could this technology be used to discredit journalists? How could this technology be used to discredit politicians or bully our children? It's this idea of world building. Not only did they create one fake tweet, they built a whole world around a lie, and it was driven by AI. Why do you love Star Wars? Why do you love science fiction? You love those shows and those movies because they build out these intricate worlds that are full of details. And that is what's happening with artificial intelligence. If we're not careful, if if AI has the ability to build a world of misinformation around us, it's going to wreak havoc. A couple disclosures, it's not like AI is completely off the rails. Like, a lot of these systems have been built with very robust structures to like prevent people from doing this type of thing. OpenAI models, Meta's open source Llama 2 model, have been trained not to provide like harmful advice or illegal activities. And Meta spent something like millions on trying to safeguard Llama 2. Some reports will indicate that their model that they released will refuse to answer basic questions, providing ethical guidelines. And what I would say is that's great, and people are still finding ways to get around it. And if these technologists can, and they did it to me, we need to know about it because we need to safeguard against this in the future. The reason I allow myself to be a guinea pig in these types of experiments is I think it's really important to show the human impact of this type of thing and show how much it actually feels terrible. I felt ashamed. I felt powerless. I felt like all these things I'd worked for in my career in front of like an audience, it just felt like that was being stripped away, even though it was all set up in the way that we knew that this was a demo to show how things could be broken in order to fix them. I just think we got to fix them.
All right.
Ouch. 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 Y'all, we have to be ready for this. Now, she was very honest in saying that, you know, there were certain things that had to be done to get that. But honestly, people who are smart, not just your everyday people who are just using these things for daily assistance with their writing or their schoolwork. This is for people who really want to get deep and to get some shiznit started, because this is where they're going to be able to start. We feed AI every single day. We feed the beast. We put our pictures in. We put our voices in. We put in things about us. Dr. Tachi, I know you've got a bio out there somewhere. I've got a bio out there somewhere. I've done this on myself, and I've seen some things come up about me that I didn't put in, you know, and I'll say, tell me about Laura Key, Living the La La, or Realty Goddess, and all that will come up. And it was very interesting that they did this and showed just how important to know that not everything you see is truth. Now, years ago in Africa, they did a huge deep fake with one of the politicians who was running. And that was the very beginning of how they started fooling with politics with the deep fakes. And they created a video of him, and he lost the election. So I think it's very, very critical now for us to understand our world has completely changed, and you better check sources and check sources again, and maybe check it a third time to make sure that things are correct that you're reading. The problem is today's world doesn't want to take the time to do that. What they read or what they're told is what they tend to believe, and then they don't go any deeper than that. So we are up against a force for our intelligence and our minds and swaying our views on things that are important to us. And they can be swayed very easily, and it can come from another side who wants to gently sway you to believe something else. And this is kind of hard, not when you say, but I saw it on TV, but I saw it on the news, but I saw it. This is a very dangerous thing. And especially during election times, when you are dealing with governments and people's voting rights, this is something we need to be aware of. This scared the hell out of me, and I'm going to be very honest about it. It just did. I know that it can be taken that way, but for them to show how deep in just a short amount of time is very scary.
Dr. Tachi, thoughts?
Wow. I mean, where do I even begin? Absolutely, Lala. I think the thing that can be so disconcerting about this is these are tools that you have access to. These are not tools that are behind a paywall or, well, not necessarily a paywall, but a brick wall that you can't get to. And in some cases, there is not a paywall. ChatGPT, the 3.5 version, is free. And so you're going to be able to do some of these things with that. Same Bing, free, right? Bing Copilot. So these are things that we readily have access to. I'll say this, though. It's not like it is not combatable. Of course, this is a huge problem, but it's a huge problem because most of us many, there we go. Many of us have not been taught to think critically and act upon that critical thinking. That's what happens when you train people to work as part of the machine and things come up that you don't anticipate. And now people cannot tell, as you say, fact from fiction. And so this is what we need to do. The average person, like we said, of course, is not going to check several different sources for agreement, but we need to start doing that, because the whole thing is, even though you can create this thing, there are going to be gaps somewhere. There's always a gap that you can, go in. So do your due diligence. I always tell people when they share stories, I'm like, did you check that against at least 3 other stories to look for agreement, to make sure that was true?
Right.
That's number one. Look for agreement to make sure it's true before you share a story, because if you share something that's false, that is also you, because you didn't do you can't just say, oh, well, I just shared it from somebody else. No, you shared it. So you need to do your due diligence. Number two, you need to teach children to do their due diligence as well, right? Not to believe everything that comes up, because it could be fake, right? So in schools, that means teachers need to be aware of how to spot these things and how to do it. So sorry, school systems, you can't be behind anymore. Colleges, you can't be behind anymore. You've been hiding behind this veil of mediocrity. I'm not calling the entire system mediocre, but you've been hiding behind the veil of mediocrity because, and I get it. We don't have money to do this. So you don't do it. All right, now there's something that could truly harm. You have to add this into whatever it is. Whatever else is unnecessary that you can, take out to replace it with this AI knowledge, AI and all of that, that's what you need to do, because this is a reality on all levels of education. Okay, so those are some things that you can start to try and do. Is it foolproof? No, it's not. Nothing is 100% foolproof, but at least you come armed with things. And so the other thing is, for the average person, there are so many people that have never they look at AI art and, it's like, oh, that's nice. But do you understand how to create prompts, how things are done? Can you look at a perfect example? Terry Johnson had posted something, because we've all had these conversations about AI, and she posted, I forgot if she used Midjourney, but she posted an image of a cat, and she put it on her Facebook and asked everyone, do you think this is real or AI? Now, it looked wonderful and real, but here's the thing, and this is where having extra knowledge comes in handy. So I'm a filmmaker, right? Which means by default, I have a little bit of photography skills and understanding of light and the way things hit. So I looked at it and I zoomed in on the eyes. I was like, the reflection that's in the eyes would have been reflecting whatever it was looking at outside. This is AI. Simple things like that. Looking at, like she said, looking at the finger.
Or the finger, which they hardly get that right. Hardly get that right.
Exactly. They have like 5 and 10 fingers.
Right. Or 3 arms.
3 arms, exactly.
4 legs, yeah.
Look closely at images. I was listening to the voice. When I listened to the voice, it sounded like a script. So AI has not gotten, even though it sounds really real, it has not gotten to the point of natural inflections and ebbs and flows that you would have naturally as a person. So it tried, and I'm like, okay, but it sounded like a script, not that it was like, oh my, I could tell this person is reading, but there are certain things that you can hear in terms of the highs and lows in the human voice that are not very difficult to pick up. So those are the things that we need to be trained to do. It is unfortunate that you have to. I still believe there's more power and good in AI than there is bad, but the potential for bad can be devastating. So we just need to be aware.
And that's where I want to bring in a really balanced point of this, because, and whenever I talk about it, because I do love AI, I didn't think that I would. When it was first available to us, I was like, oh no, this is dangerous. And then I got in, I'm like, oh, this is fun. Look at all I can do. So, I'm not against it, but I am a responsible person who uses AI. But here's where it can do some good. just this week, a story came out about Randy Travis. Randy Travis, the country star, had a stroke in 2013, I believe, and he has lost the ability to sing. Well, with AI, he was able to put out a new song in his own voice and his own music and chart with his music, which is all him. See, his voice was taken, but he still can be creative. He wrote the music, he wrote the words, and then they were able to feed his voice into it. So in those cases, that is something good. It can give a voice to those who have lost their voice, especially if you're a creative. I cannot, oh my God, I can't even imagine if I lost my voice. Every time I have laryngitis, I freak out. Because I'm like, I need to sing. I have to sing. What's going to happen? Can't sing. That is my life. So it can be used for good. And that was a good story to attach to that. But we must be more educated as the public. And like Dr. Tachi said, the schools have to start doing this stuff. Instead of stop banning these damn books and trying to get rid of DEI, why don't you worry about getting them knowledgeable about what's AI and what's it about and being keen to knowing what's real and what's not.
Can I add one other thing? This also comes with getting people in positions, whether it is elected positions or there are companies that are hiring that understand this and make it a priority. It can't just be when it comes to political offices, people who just want to be in power and a party or whatever that just wants to stay in power. It has to be about, okay, let's hire people who actually know. That's the problem we have now. The Hill looks silly. They just look silly when it comes to these things. They invite Zuckerberg and all these people up on the Hill to testify, and they don't understand it themselves. And you can tell by the questions they ask. And then all of their indignation goes by the wayside when another new a puppy comes by.
Right.
Because on to the next thing. So you need to start, as this is us too, we need to start electing people who understand the technology, who understand these things, and not just relying on a small technology task force to do. Do you understand it? And most of these Methuselahs do not.
That's right. And it goes by even hearing them saying tickety tock. They don't even know what it is. Things like that. They just have no clue. They have no clue. That's how far behind. That's when they get their little assistants. Oh, you need to go put something on the Tweeter or what is it called? And they go and do it for them. We are so far behind, y'all. We are so far behind.
But here's the challenge, though. It all starts from the home.
It does. But it also means, what resources do you have? This goes back to the division of all these things, that the have and have nots. A lot of our young children don't have access to these keys. So you got to look at it that way too.
And I do agree, but in a way I also disagree, because do you know how many social service and public service groups we have? And I don't mean like government social services, but social service organizations and public service organizations and task forces and all of these things that we have. There are more than enough to be able to not solve, but start to make a dent. I will point to, for example, the D9, the Divine Nine organizations. Every single one of, and I say us because I'm also a member of Divine Nine, we have, each of the organizations have things for young women and young men. I think that between that, and then I'll point to my own organization, which is very dedicated to STEM. We have the Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy, which is to assist middle school girls with STEM. And then we kind of have that same mission with Embody, which is for young men. And so it's a question sometimes of, it's rarely are we ever full. And I can only speak about the chapters I've been in, but rarely are we ever full with these things. And we do our best to try and have them in the community so that they can get there. But so at some point, you're right. Like you said, Dr. Vibe, it starts in the home, and it is on the parents to make sure, all right, well, these programs are existing and we don't charge for them. Let's find a way to get this child there so that they are ahead.
Well, I also want to add too, they need to get engaged and get educated on it too.
Absolutely.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
That's where I was coming from. That yes, the school system, yes, but the parents need to get educated, engaged about it too, because when the kids are home at night, when they're home, that's a whole other conversation. An indirect relationship to this, in the province that I live in, which when Canada we have provinces, US you have the states, starting in September, cell phones are banned in the classroom.
I think as they should be. I've never been a believer of having those phones in the classroom in the first place.
So I don't want to take the conversation, but just putting it out there that they're going to be banned. So it'll be very interesting to see what impact that has going forward. Anything else we want to share on this story? Because this story is going to be ongoing, but a great example of the potential not good effects of AI. All right. Go ahead. Anybody? Go ahead.
I think that one other thing that can work is to try and start to do some research on it, so we have these statistics related to it. So there is a whole center for generational statistics, which looks at things that happen by generation. So if you're trying to figure out, all right, well, what age group are millennials, what's their range, you can go to the Center for Generational Statistics and take a look at that. I think we need to start to do something similar with AI and make that a mandatory thing where we start to study that. And that's there are all sorts of organizations. There's money out there. Give some of these grants to universities, because this is some of the things that they do. Set up whole centers for this. Government wise, there should be a whole Office of Artificial Intelligence Affairs, or whatever you want to call it, because when you start to form these organizations and do the study of it, this is when you've admitted this is actually a thing, and a thing that could get out of control. That was the whole problem with the internet. If you recall, the internet has actually been in existence as a whole since the 60s. Our Advanced Research Projects Agency, and it was more of a military thing, and then that became something that universities used. Then it became mainstream, but there was no government effort to try and reel this in, and by the time they were like, oh, well, we need to, it was too late. So we are
put it back in the bag when it's been let out.
Well, and the difficulty is putting in the government's hands, then the special interest groups get involved. Right. So that's a whole, and I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
100%, but at least have some sort of effort to try to regulate.
Yes, and it's not just government alone. Sometimes I think that citizens want the government that they should solve everything. They cannot on their own. They've been appointed to try, but it's a collaborative effort between citizens as well. So there needs to be private industry doing this, right? Education doing this, and government. So it needs to be a triangulation of effort for this to work.
Yes, agree.
100%.
Agree.
All right, 100%. Before we do it, next conversation piece, as always, conversation piece, there are always comments flying in. So let's do some catching up. Fitness IQ, the link for Indie Soup, I've put it in the chat, so you got it done. She's saying, yeah, this is happening with memes too. She said, did you see the one with LeBron James dissing his teammates?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Fitness IQ says that'll be something, Dr. Vibe, with the ban of cell phones. I mean, I was in grade 11 when when camera cell phones just came out. Lord, but I'm glad smartphones weren't available too at that time. Manrico 01, thank you. Yes, today's criminals are getting away with these things because lawmakers don't understand tech. Uber driver lost her life last month when someone orchestrated a prank to a racist itching to pull the trigger. And then, I heard about that story. That was out of control. Out of control. All right, keep the comments coming. Let's have the next conversation. Peace. Arizona Senate votes to repeal 1864 abortion ban. Sends measures to the governor. Really, they actually thought about that.
They did. They did. And I'm actually pretty proud of Arizona on this. Arizona's been fighting faithfully about this abortion ban, but their lawmakers are doing it the proper way. The Supreme Court is the one that let that 1864 abortion ban happen. That's even before women could vote, y'all. They went that far back. They went that far back to make sure that, you know, women couldn't obtain an abortion in their state. And when they took it to the people said, nah, we're not doing that. So they decided to repeal that. And then they're also fighting, and believe it or not, some of the Republicans definitely voted to repeal the act. So it wasn't just an all Democrat thing that happened there. Some of the Republican people were also like, this, we can't do this. This is not even fair. And like I said, one of them actually said, why would I take something back all the way to 1864 before women could even have a voice in voting? I just can't do it. And then of course you still had the ones who were like, you know, conception at birth, you know, birth, the conception is a birth, whatever, you know what I mean? Soon as it happens, before it even happens, before you even kiss the man, you are a baby. So that's where they are in these things. But they plan on putting more things to vote for the public in November as well, to repeal what they've already passed in the state and to remove some of the things that were passed again. And they're going to let the people choose what they want for that state, which is the right way. Let your people choose. Let your people choose. You don't get the right to tell us what we want to do. Let your people choose. Now, does it always go our way? No, but you give them the opportunity to make that decision for your state. So this is a really interesting state to watch for these bans because they have been fighting from the very, very beginning. And to me, I think it's been a fair fight in their state. Because when something happens that they don't like, they take action very quickly. And Arizona is going to be one to definitely watch.
Dr. Tachi, anything to add?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Co-sign on everything she just said. Arizona has actually always been the one to watch. You know, when they talk about the races, the different congressional races, they talk about the presidential races. Arizona is not always one that you get heard called. That didn't make nice sense. You don't even call Arizona's name a lot, but Arizona is really important. I mean, if we look at it on a minuscule level, they're the only people in the U.S. that don't observe this rubbish change of time. So
Yeah,
everybody else will go. Arizona's like, nope, it is still. What time is it now? 7:52. Okay, it is still 7:52 here, regardless of what season it is. So they don't do the changing of the clock, and so they've been very vocal on many issues throughout history. So I think they're going to be one to watch on this, and I think this is something to be proud of for Arizona. People should vote on these things. You are not all encompassing, all powerful great dictators. You are not the great and powerful Oz, so you should not be making these types of decisions for the populace at all.
That's right.
So it definitely should go to the people, and it will be interesting to see what comes out of this, because this is a litmus test for other states. This is a litmus test for other issues as well.
Yeah.
Because if you can do things like this, where else can you go in the books and bring back ancient laws? It calls to they haven't, you know, this also shows that they haven't really done an overhaul of law or looked at the books in a very long time. Because if they did, you know, and I think people think, oh, that was then, but you see what happened. Not that it succeeded or hasn't succeeded, but if you're able to go back into the books and pull laws, and they always do this. I don't know if you've ever seen these news stories sometimes that come up with ridiculous laws that are in the books in different states. Why is this still a law? Why is this still in the books? Why is there nothing repealing this? So, you know, those are the things that need to happen governmentally. They need to look at some of these things. They need to go through, just like you need to go through some of the paperwork you have periodically. And if you know if
That's
one
right.
individual has a lot of paperwork and you need to go through things, an entire state has lots of paperwork, but for some reason they don't feel it's important. Maybe they don't want it to be the case so that they can go back and call on these ridiculous laws. But good for
And
you.
perfect example, not only that, like even in real estate, guys, there's so many states that have a clause saying that you can't sell to African Americans. And of course, they called those Negroes at the time. You know, that's what they said. You can do it. And they won't go back and take them off. They're not enforceable. You can't enforce them. But the way this world is going right now, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they changed and ruled on things like that you can't live in a certain area. And that's actually going to lead into another story that we have tonight. But, you know, you got to be careful with this, and you need to know what's on the books, what should be removed. And people say it just takes time to do that. It takes too much time. Well, it's time well spent.
It's laziness, sheer laziness. There's no reason you should. A lot of what happens is, like, I understand there is short staff. Let's make up a word: short staffedness. Okay, there is short staffedness across the government at different levels, and I understand that. Some of it is cost-cutting measure because they don't want to pay for extra people to do these things, and some of it is whatever else it may be. But on the other side of that, that's laziness, and in my eyes, and then a lack of what's the word? A lack of knowledge of the importance of making sure everything you have is up to date. That's like teaching from, I taught a class one time at a university. I won't say what it is, but the books were like from, and this is, I was teaching there like in 2017, but the book I had to teach them from was from 2012. I was like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Well, we have to go through a whole process that's exactly what this is like. You are in 2017 and you're using 2012 books to teach people if you have outdated things on your books.
Before we move to the next conversation piece, or even both of you, were you surprised that some Republicans supported this? Is there a motive behind that?
I don't think so. Like I said, Arizona is a very unique state. Had this happened maybe in Texas or Florida or Mississippi, I would have been like, what? But Arizona is pretty kind of even kill. So I'm not exactly surprised, but still, yes, especially in election year. But then again, most of the ones who were the GOPs that voted were women themselves. So you have to take that into account too, because you're talking about their reproductive rights as well. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm with Lala on this one. I'm not really so surprised that, because again, they're talking about them. It's in, like she said, the other states which surprises me, because does your womanhood cease because you live in Mississippi or Alabama or a quote unquote red state? But in those states, they're very Bible Belt states, and the interpretation of the Bible supersedes your humanness.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to the next thing. I hadn't heard this name in a long time. Mitch McConnell saying his exit is not going to be a quiet one. Lala, talk to me.
This man has been playing chess from day one. You are talking about a man that I grew up with in Kentucky. When Mitch McConnell first got into politics, I was a little girl, and everybody pretty much liked him. He was pretty decent, but that was his power play. He got everybody to like him to get to the power that he wanted to get, and now he is kingpin. However, what I don't think he really took into consideration too well, but he is fixing it, is that he never thought that he would be at this stage mentally or age-wise. He didn't take into account those things of, all of a sudden he's just standing there looking at deer in the headlights things. He doesn't know what to say. It's like he's had many strokes or whatever. But Mitch McConnell has been a big power player from the very beginning. So the first thing that he did, as y'all know, he always sits quiet. He sits very quiet because he wants to see what's going on. See, my mother taught me this too. You don't need to be the biggest mouth in the house. You really, truly need to sit back and evaluate things that are going on in your life before you move that chess piece. Why do y'all think chess takes hours to complete? It's an hour. You're really using mental capacity to win this game. So Mitch has lined himself up to win no matter what. And what he did is he powered himself exactly to where he is, where he has all this power in the Senate. But yet he doesn't endorse until he sees that it's going to actually benefit him. And every once in a while, he will actually come out and say, well, what purpose would that have done me if I would have voted this way? It doesn't matter because my vote wouldn't have counted on that. So that's when he breaks with the regular GOP. Notice he didn't really endorse Trump until Trump won the seat that he's getting to run on the ticket. That's when he came out. But he also waited till Trump got out of office to talk bad about him and say, well, he's just as guilty. All right, well, so what made you change on that? He also tried to line up things, especially with his son-in-law, Daniel Cameron. And what he didn't expect was that the people were not going to allow that to happen in Kentucky. So Daniel Cameron had a second thing going on that Mitch is behind, that he's working for this non-DEI against woke company, big corporation, that he doesn't, he truly believes that he's not a part of. He believes he's Mr. Whitewash that he is. But he didn't get that position. So what did he do? What McConnell did, y'all, is he took it back to the Kentucky people. He knows he's getting ready to retire because he knows his voice is not as strong as it used to be, and it's no longer the voice that people listen to. The MAGA Republicans are the voice that people listen to. So what he did is he took it back to Kentucky. He knows he's getting ready to retire. He's probably not going to announce that till after this election, right? And so he had the Senate there put a bill forth that Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, cannot replace that seat. He can't appoint who he wants to appoint in that seat. And so they voted that only the GOP can replace that seat once Mitch is out. Anything that has to do with the GOP, he can't do that in Kentucky. So therefore, they can't move up to the seat in the Senate like Mitch did. This is chess. This is not checkers. This is not monopoly money. This is real money. So Beshear vetoed it. And guess what? The GOP Senate in Kentucky said, we veto you. So nope, can't have it. So Mitch is not going to go quietly. It's going to be interesting how he makes his exit strategy, but he's playing his hand right in front of you. And if people are smart, they'll be taking notes from what he's doing if they want to get to where his level is. But he knows he's no longer effective, but he wants to make sure that he's going to be effective in the future with the moves that he's made today.
Wow. Power play. Dr. Tachi, anything you want to add about Mitch McConnell? I hadn't heard his name for so long.
It's what Lala said, keeping quiet until the time is right. I think if anything, because Lala really summed that up completely, but I will say this thing, that this, if nothing else, really stresses the need to have term limits.
Amen.
There's no reason, it doesn't matter who it is, there's no reason that there should be people that have been there, like you said, when you were young. And I mean, not that you're old, but and this is the same across government, levels of government. You can look at city government, and I remember, in Buffalo, New York, they have a common council, and so I'm like, this person is still a common council from when I was little.
The Buffalo Common Counselor.
Yeah.
I still hear that term all the time when I listen to the NPR station.
Yeah.
BFO. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So you're well aware. There's some people I'm like, why is this person still on the Common Council? It's been donkey years at this point. And so it's across levels of government, from local government to state government to, federal government, that we're seeing people that are there for donkey years, and it doesn't need to happen because this is when this happens. Now, also, it feels like, in a way, even though it may not be, but it feels like it's also a ploy. You get the people so tired of the nonsense from the incumbent Methuselahs that was, as soon as another election comes up, you're ready for a change and you don't care who it is. So this is if nothing, an argument for term limits. And if you ask me, if you've already been president once, or after the two terms, you cannot run again. Why do you need to come back?
You don't.
Want something else. You don't. Even if you were a wonderful leader, at some point it is time to give, because at that point, if you've had 2 terms, that's 8 years. At some point, it is.
And that's enough.
That's more than enough. 8 years is more than enough to make a dent. I will say this. Really, when we look at the presidency across the board, I mean, with the exception of some people or some individual, let's say that, it's difficult to undo a lot of what is done that has been endemic in the system for centuries. And so people always get mad and want to, oh, well, look at what happened. I'm like, okay, but this is not the fault of this president per se. This has been something that has been happening, and it's difficult, even in 8 years, to undo some of these things, but at least you can make a dent. If you haven't managed to make a dent, we definitely don't need you back, but I don't think you should have any more than 2 terms. You
well, I also think if you got 91 indictments, you don't need to be on the ticket. But
thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, we have all sorts of other laws, but you can have a criminal run that just doesn't make any sense. So we need to look at the books again for all of this, and we need to repeal some of these things that are harmful. And something that is very harmful is having people in office way too long past their utility rather, and they are futile. But and I'm not talking about age. I'm just talking about past their usefulness.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
You need fresh blood. Yeah. You really do.
Absolutely. All right. Let's move on to our next conversation topic. And Lala, you're on fire. This is another one. Lala is like, wealthy white Louisiana residents win right to form their own city and split from poorer Black neighborhoods and landmark court ruling after a 10-year battle. Lala, go.
God forbid if we should have to ride through that neighborhood to get to ours. Instead of wanting to better their whole community as a whole, they want to separate to keep the poor in their place so that they can raise to a different level and separate. And then they claim, well, we know we just want the best things for our residents. Well, what about the residents as a whole? Because now that you are creating this split from the poorer communities, your children are going to get the best benefits, the best education. You're going to get extra money from this, from the state and anything else, while the poorer will stay in the state that they're in. But that's the point. Look at who we're talking about. Some of these cities, man, I'm like, what are y'all still there for? These cities are just, where's the Bugs Bunny? Scissors. Get them all out of there, because I'm really tired of all this stuff. Dr. Tachi, I got to get you out of Florida. Lord Jesus, let me get you out of Florida before I cut off the state. But guys, this is what I'm talking about. If you really look at this is a big power play for the have and have-nots. The more that they can split us, the better. And this is a perfect example. They've been fighting for this for 10 years. So basically, I like to call this the pretend phase, where like they make it look like it's a battle, but honestly, somebody exactly knew that in 10 years, we'll go ahead and give you this little section that you really want so that you can do whatever you want to. But in many cases, in many states, you still have that clause in the deeds, even in a lot in Compton, California, because y'all didn't know that Compton, California was white, right? Compton, California was a white neighborhood, and there was literally in the deeds, you could not sell to anyone of Negroid blood. And when the laws changed, the Fair Housing Act changed, they could not enforce that. And so there was the first family that moved in, and it was a battle. They chased like 2 or 3 families away from Compton before they saw that they couldn't do anymore, and then moved out. So they picked up their businesses, picked up their families, and moved to a different area. So these laws are still on the books in a lot of states, because I can go and look up several right now in many different states. And the way things are going right now in this world, I wouldn't be surprised if they said, well, you know, this DEI, we got to do all, let's go ahead and just put that back on the books for the people, the good old people down in the South. We want to keep it deep in the heart of Texas and enforce that. This opens the door to me. This is a gateway of what they can probably go back to. Mark my words, it's going to come. I have it in my heart of hearts. I know it, because I want to see how this is going to open the doors where people can now say that they want their own of the have and have nots. They already have everything. So instead of bettering the community for everyone, they want to keep and hoard everything that they want and not give to the other part. Y'all better be careful. It's coming.
Well, before Dr. Tachi chimes in, JGMR says, this is what many wanted. Southern succession has never went away.
Never.
And also, he also says, Texas really tried it when Obama was elected.
Yeah. Let them. That means you don't, like Aisha says, let them. You don't get federal money. You don't get none of that stuff. Get whoever wants up out of there. And y'all go ahead and go float off into the middle of the ocean. Go right ahead. You big enough. You have your own island.
Dr. Tachi?
I wish Texas would have succeeded. That's all I have to say. I wish they would have succeeded. Please. Succeeded and seceded. Please leave.
Mm-hmm.
Please leave.
Mm-hmm.
This actually reminds me of something. So, I've spent a lot of time in Atlanta because of production. And at one point I was actually going to, be up there quite a bit more. And I remember them telling me that this is something that they were also trying to do with Buckhead. Now, if you know anything about Buckhead, that is the Atlanta place to be. That's a very wealthy enclave in Atlanta, and they were trying to do the same thing. But again, whenever you have that is a part of your tax base. They are paying taxes for the good of everybody. But this, it may sound bad, but I'm like, bye, St. George. Let them go. And I understand what the consequences will be. What did they say? Like 53 million? This would be like a $53 million hit or so.
Yes.
Or was it billion? I can't remember, but 53 million.
Big number.
Big number. Hit to the city of Baton Rouge, or Baton Rouge, if we're saying it properly. But let them go, because this shows exactly who they are. Do you want to live in silence next to people who could decimate your town? This shows exactly who they are. They need to be in an enclave by themselves and let them try and run things by themselves. Now, one thing, I know this is not something that is normally done, but so what is the consequence? If you're voting you can't just leave. I mean, you can, but you can't just leave. Is there some sort of monetary compensation that they need to pay to the city of Baton Rouge for this? There should be, if there is not.
I agree.
Now you remember, the budgets are predicated on the taxpayers, the people that they have paying taxes. So now you have messed up the budget. Okay.
Yes.
We don't have that. And where do you want the city to recoup that from? Well, since it was based off of you, because you used the services of Baton Rouge, all of them probably had used fire, police, and you use those services, you have to pay us back.
Yeah.
Take them with a cashier's check, please.
Yes. See, this is more than just that. There are so many spider webs all up underneath this that is dangerous, and there are many consequences. So the fact that they finally accomplished this, we really need to be looking at this with a magnifying glass, because this is what they always set one precedent, and then someone else says, well, Baton Rouge did it, so why can't we do it? And there you're going to see it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they built a wall. No joke. I kid you not. I have seen it. I have shown it in my career where people have separated themselves from what they don't want to see, or they'll build a McMansion right next to Sanford and Son. And then next thing you know, Sanford and Son has to move.
I say, let them go. I'm fine with that. Let them go. They are more trouble than they are worth, and they're not worth much at all. All they have, and it's very sad, because they may have money be wealthier, because in the article, according to the article, the average citizen makes like 30,000 more than the people in Baton Rouge in general. So they have more means and more money. Well, fine. Use that means and your money on that's all you have. You don't have the support of a community. You don't have much. And it's very sad. And it's not going to bide well for them. All we have to do is look at other communities where this has been the case, maybe not legally, but they have separated themselves, self-separated or segregated themselves. Why are we fighting them? For the little bit of money that would come, let them go. So that just means that we need to, this is a wake-up call. It's the same thing with DEI. It's the same thing with all of these, that we need to stop relying on those entities for livelihood and for righteousness, because you've shown you are not capable of human thought. You are not capable of righteousness. You are not capable of compassion. You cannot be in a functioning society. A functioning society, if we look at it in sociological terms, that is what a functioning society is. These people have shown they cannot be functional members of society. Better for them to go.
I really love that. That's true. They can't function in a society, so therefore they have to go create their own. Yeah.
You have to create you have to go. In fact, be glad you did it on your own and we didn't throw you out.
Right.
Well, is it like the old song by Sting, if you love somebody,
set them free?
We don't love you, but we will set you free.
Free.
Set them
free. Sound delivered.
Wow. Okay, Dr. Tachi, don't tell us how you really feel. All right. And by the way, Dr. Tachi, you always have an open invitation to jump on anytime. I know you have a very, very, very crazy schedule. We would love you anytime you're ready to come on. Just putting it out there.
I'll take you up on that, because Saturdays tend to be good. So I'll take you up on that.
All right. Fantastic. All right. We've got one last conversation piece, and definitely this is something that Dr. Tachi can speak to that happened this week. Byron Allen's media company starts layoffs across all divisions. And one of those divisions was the Griot.
My former publication. So yeah, for people who did not, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, ladies first, always.
I didn't mean to cut you off. So for people who did not know, I used to write for the Griot when Joy Reid was the managing editor. So Joy Reid was my editor at I mean, when you want to talk about, just to big up Joy for a moment, you want to talk about brilliant. I mean, she is truly brilliant. I would choose my words carefully, and I'm not saying like I'm a Cornell West or an Einstein or any of that. I just am. I have a little bit of knowledge, but when she would speak, I'm like, let me choose my words carefully, because this woman is. You would feel just damn dumb next to her because she's that brilliant. So yeah, that is you know what? I am not surprised when it comes to these things. Obviously, he's grown steadily, but within the past few years, he's grown, quite large. And we are not right now in the economic situation and the technological situation that will support large traditional media outlets. And for the most part, Byron Allen and all of his enterprises are traditional media outlets. Maybe looking into some other things, but it's just not sustainable now when we live in an age of AI, when we live in an age of equipment that has gotten so inexpensive that most people, I shouldn't say most people, many people can now afford it and put out quality productions. It just doesn't make economic sense to do things the old-fashioned way. So I'm not surprised that there is there will be some, I hate to say bleeding, but that some of this will start to lessen and some people will let go. I'm not surprised at all. Lala, I see you want to weigh in. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just think it's very interesting how people, I feel like people count him out, but he's a quiet mover, and whatever he does for a reason. So we need to be really kind of watching what his reasoning is. He's a smart man. He knows how to make the move. A lot of people don't take him seriously, but they need to stop underestimating him because he's pretty powerful and he knows what he's doing. And I'm not surprised with so many things that are going on. You have to be smart with your money and you have to cut where the losses need to be cut. If that's not serving his empire because believe it or not, the people, because he truly does take into consideration us as the people and everything that he does, then he knows that it's time to let it go. I don't doubt that, AI has a lot to do with this as well. I'm going to be watching closely to see how maybe he'll be incorporating that into his fold as well. But I admire him. And to be honest, he was so quiet that he wasn't on my radar for a very long time because he was back there making his power moves. I think he's a smart man. I think that we just need to pay attention to what he's doing and support him.
Absolutely. He's been very open about wanting to, a lot of the acquisitions, acquire some assets from Disney, etc. He's been very open about that. Wanting to, at one point, remember when BET was up for sale, that whole nonsense, wanting to acquire that. That would have been, that's probably a blessing in disguise, Mr. Allen, because BET is not a network that has a lot of, I mean, they have shows, but it's not the BET that it was intended to be.
No, not at all.
In my opinion, it would have taken a lot of money and content and resources to bring it to a level that is, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I think he's not alone and he's not in a bubble. Many media companies have been undergoing layoff. All we have to do is look at a lot of, print. This has been happening for a while. New York Times had some layoffs. They were, look at Vox Media and what happened with that. So when you look at a lot of these media outlets and these media companies, they are across media experiencing layoffs. But some of this has to do with cord cutting too. And I think many of these media companies had discounted the importance of cutting the cord or what cutting the cord was doing to their companies. So these cost-saving measures by letting staff go also is because we're also not consuming content in traditional ways anymore. A lot of us, when was the last time I had cable? Several.
I don't have it. I don't have it. Haven't had it in years.
Years. I've been a cord cutter for a long time. And it did take a minute because I'm like, okay, well, this is what I teach. So I need to make sure I have some of these things. But once I got it together and saw what was offered on some of these other, I was like, bye. This is ridiculous. So cord cutting really does have something to do with this across the board, not just for Byron Allen, but across media.
I want to bring up two conversation points. One, Byron Allen has tried or put in offers to buy a lot of different media properties, BET, Paramount. I think he's done for Disney. Why is, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but why if there are any thoughts on why he has not been successful?
Oh, it's a power move. They want to block him for a reason. I mean, the powers that be don't want him to have that much power in the media field. It's unspoken, but we all know that. This man has plenty of money to buy all those things, but then all of a sudden they'd rather take BET off the market than sell it to him. Oh, that's plain and simple in your face. They just don't want him to have it. They don't want us to benefit from that.
And I have to agree, because there's no other salient reason that he wouldn't be. If you have something for sale and somebody offers you to that, why not take? You want to sell it for a reason, because you don't want it anymore, but you want to control who buys it. Well, you've already run it into the ground.
Right. Right.
Okay.
You had your time.
Run BET into the ground. And so now you have somebody who arguably could do something with it. And you just say, oh, well, we're just going to take it off the market. That's fine. That's fine, because it was probably more headache than it was worth. But yes, absolutely. There is a lot of money to be made in these industries. A lot of money to be made, especially the way that media and entertainment has been structured. Especially. It's always been this money maker. It doesn't have the power to pull as much money as it once did, as I said, because of cord cutting and all the choices in entertainment we have. And so now that there is less of a field, they don't want to divide it up with people they don't want to have it.
That's right.
So that just means there's less for them, because if we're all cutting cords, we're all getting media in, quote, non-traditional ways, we're not getting media from them.
That's right.
So that's less for them. I don't need you to have this. And there is, I think people think that we're somehow mad when we talk about the race and things that are involved. Yeah, that absolutely is a thing. People, oh no, it's green. No, it's also brown.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Before we go on, Rich Kodamine, I love the comment here. He goes, Dr. Tachi has been maximizing string dunking on races for a very long time.
Listen, Rich Kodamine. So Rich Kodamine is an amazing individual. He is a geographer, but he and I went to undergrad together.
Okay.
And we were in student government together, and we would have conversations about everything, but race and class and service and just everything. And I have to bring this up. I love the fact that he is shall I say, a co-conspirator, because the word ally is it's just loose. But he's a co-conspirator. I'll say that. He will ask my opinion on things. He said, well, what do you think because he's white. He said, as a white person, I want to make sure that I'm making things. This is what I want to do. What do you think? And we'll have these kinds of conversations. And that's what you need. That's exactly what you need. So Rich is like one of my dearest friends from like undergrad.
I love it.
Happy to have you here, Rich. And he also added, trivia time, the only president to hold 2 terms non-consecutively was Grover Cleveland. Before his career as president, he was the mayor of Buffalo, New York. There you go. The other thing about this whole thing about media and cord cutting, didn't they go off kilter with the amount they spend it on streaming, their streaming platforms?
Who did?
Like platforms like the majors like Universal, Comcast, ABC. They blew, like Paramount, like how much money they gave to that guy who did Brownstone? Was it?
Yes.
I
don't know how much.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but how much money they just blew out on all these streaming platforms, and now just to call themselves streamers, but they're not making money from them.
No, they're not.
Arrogance. It is called audacity. They have the media audacity to get in there, because here's what it is. Everybody saw it. Started with Netflix. Netflix, you started this.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
making money because Netflix specialized. They said, all right, this is what we're going to go into. We're going to mail DVDs to people. Everybody laughed. All right, well, now that we see that they're futurists, now that we see that DVDs or physical media may not be such a big thing, let's get into streaming. It exists. Let's get into it. People laughed. Look where they are now. Not only providing the service, but producing content, winning awards for it. This is why you
have content.
Good content. This is why you have people complaining like, Spielberg, you're great, but sometimes you complain a little bit too much about things. Complaining about why should Netflix have the such and such. A lot of people in Hollywood complaining initially about Netflix getting awards for things. Get off my lawn. Grumbling because it's because you couldn't do it, right? So now we have traditional media. Oh, well, they could do it. We could do it too. And what they did I wouldn't say out of spite, it's spiteful business moves, pulled all of their stuff off of Netflix, right, to put on their own streamers. But guess what you've done now? You now have watered down the market even further.
Yes.
Netflix was paying you licensing fees for those things. Licensing fees. You thought that you were so smart that you could beat Netflix at their own game by taking back the 10 pence, the pittance of shows and putting them back on your streamer. But what you forget is you have to produce enough that people want to see.
And they're not.
That to work. And it's not working. And now you fragmented the market because nobody wants to pay monthly for 10 different streamers to get maybe one show they like. Oh, well, never mind. I'll just keep this. Now you've messed it up because of your greed.
And now they tier it. So if you subscribe to Paramount, okay, you may do Paramount, but Paramount now has the subscriptions for the Turner Classic Movies. They have the HBO underneath them, and so now they've tiered up stuff, and that's how they get their extra money. But it's still not working. They couldn't get that model. It's the same concept when you think about what Zuckerberg's trying to do to combat with TikTok. So now he's happy that TikTok is under firearms when he's doing the same thing. They can't copy it, so therefore they're going to attack it, and they still fail.
Listen, Zuckerberg, and I'm just talking when I say this, but it's like Zuckerberg went to, the people on the hills like, well, I heard that TikTok, and whispering and tattletaling.
Yes.
Went up there.
That's what he did. He was behind the whole thing. He's doing the same thing.
Because for people like that, in order for you to win, you have to do diabolical things because you're really not that excellent on your own. Because, remember what I call Meta, master of none. They do a lot of things, but none of them particularly well. Point to all the things that they do right now. Is there anything that they are really killing it in? Anything?
No, as a matter of fact, their incorporation of this AI, people are pissed. They're like, get this AI stuff off of this. Makes no sense. So people have been complaining all week. I can't tell you how many times I've sent instructions to people on how to turn it off because they can't stand it. They don't know nothing about it. They're so late to the game that they don't even know that they're the granny in the room.
Exactly. And if you're going to come up with something AI, don't incorporate it into the search. What they're trying to do is be ChatGPT. That's what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is be Bing Copilot and have it. What they're doing is so that you stay inside the Meta ecosystem to get done whatever you need to get done. That's not going to stop me from going to Copilot or ChatGPT because your tools are not robust enough. But they, again, think that they can do it. So I'm just going to incorporate this in the search. Well, I don't come to Facebook to look for things. If I'm searching, I rarely use Facebook search. And if I'm searching for something, it's for something that I saw that I'm looking for again, not to find new things. Same thing with Instagram, not to find new things, to search for people or whatever that I knew. That there are two different different functionalities there, but he refuses to see that. Look, some people you just have to leave on their own. When people, you know, with little kids, they're like, you really, is that what you're going to wear? And they're like, yes. And they've matched together like something ugly. Sometimes you just have to let them wear the ugly clothes and find out for themselves.
That's right. That's right. And another thing that he does that ticks me off, which is all because of TikTok, is if you want to put up a story or you just want to put up a post of a video, he will force you to put it in the reel section to create a reel instead of just a regular video post. And you have to work real hard just to make it a regular post. So he is working so hard to do what he can't do on his own. He's forcing us to do one thing that we don't want to do. And what he's doing is he's losing people. I know.
Talk to Tachi. You want to add on to that, or you good?
I just, you know what? I kind of feel bad for the guy. I kind of feel bad for them because it must be terrible to want to excel so badly in what you do that you are trying to keep all these plates in the air, and the plates you're trying to keep in the air are already broken.
Yeah.
So you keep cutting yourself on the broken edges. It must be really hard. If they would just, my mother likes to say, if you could only concentrate and you just sit down and concentrate, you would do so much better. Forget all of the other things. Excel in something and add other things. What they try to do is excel in everything at the same time. But, you know, initially when they were founded in 2004, it was them, and there were others, but it was them and basically MySpace that were the big social networks back then. So, you know, you had something that was there. You had something and you just got greedy. That's the thing. And so I'm going to add this and add this. And guess what? I'm going to steal from Snapchat. We're not even going to change the name. We're just going to call it Stories. That's Snapchat.
Right.
Snapchat's fault because you should have trademarked or done whatever you could to keep that something proprietary, but you didn't. And now every social platform has Stories. They don't even change the name anymore. It's just a generic name now for those types of that type of content. So I feel in a way, I don't feel badly, but it's kind of like, oh, poor baby.
Agree. You're muted, Dr.
Of the layoffs at the Griot, what impact, of any, does this have on Black media in general?
So the Griot, well, let's I don't think that those, like I said, these layoffs do not exist in a bubble. They're happening across media. I think I don't know how much impact it really has aside from like, maybe from an ownership standpoint or whatever. Because Black media, we haven't had enough solid, salient Black media in a very long time. The Black media we do have tend to be important to those communities. For example, we can point to the Black newspapers. For example, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Here we have the West Side Gazette. There, major cities usually have their Black news publications. So though newspaper has been waning for a while, so obviously if traditional newspaper has a cold, Black newspapers have the flu. So there's been a little bit of hemorrhaging there for a while when we look at that. When we're talking about television, right, or video media, there is far and few between in the first place. However, it is not as if the Griot as a channel provides us with new content. It's mostly replays of shows, of movies and shows, which is fine. But so I don't want to say it's not important in the scope, but it's a very small piece, in my opinion, of media. So I don't know how much of an impact on the whole. Yes, there are less people that have jobs, but again, that's across all media that this is happening. I don't think this is a big hit. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's not like it's a big hit to Black media because our Black media are so far and few in between anyway. So, and it's not like it was providing a service that was not provided by either other Black media or other media. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Lala?
No, I agree.
All right. So you know what, family? We're going to shut it down right there because I think it's a good, Fast and Furious lasted a while. And a few remaining comments. GR Houston Jack, consumers want options and attempting to have everything streamed isn't working. Peacock, I'm looking at you. Fitness IQ Cat says, help Lala, how do you turn it off on WhatsApp? I don't know.
I am putting it in the Discord for you right now.
Thank you very much. GR Houston Jack, quote, the granny in the room, unquote, likes that. Cinema Canella, hey there, you jumped in late, but you gotta do, there it is. It's in the Discord group. She says, hey there, watch the replay like Regina did last night of last Saturday's show, and she had some great comments. I responded back to her, so that is fantastic. Jen Meyer says, great show. Cinema Canella, oops, spell check, no good, no worry. And Fitness IQ says, thanks, Lala, for putting it in the Discord group. There we go. All right, we are done for another epic conversation. And wasn't it good? It's always good.
It's always good.
It was good. You know, I have to say, you can watch this on Indie Soup as well. So for the first time on Friday at 5, we replayed last week, and I sat and watched it because when you're in the midst of it, you don't have a concept of how it's good. When I sat and I said, wow, our conversation was really extensive and quite good.
Well, this one will be there next Friday too, and
great.
big ups to the intern I have doing the editing. He is turning around these so fast.
Amen.
So very, very good and very blessed to have that down. So before we do, as some would say, exit stage left, how do we find out more of this lady they call Dr. Tachi?
You can reach me on there you go, all of that. Instagram is a great way to reach me at Dr._Tachi. I do a lot of content on all social platforms. Lately, a lot of my energy has also been in Indie Soup Media, which is my network that Dr. Vibe is on, Lala is on because of this, and a lot of other great creators. G is on there as well. So lots of great content. Please watch us. You can watch in several different ways. You can go to our website, indiesoupmedia.tv, watch that way. If you have a Roku, you can download the Roku app and watch on a Roku device. You can also easily find us on YouTube, which is like our biggest social platform. YouTube, Twitch, X, and also Facebook Live.
Wow.
Monday through Friday from 4 o'clock, and then Monday through Thursday, 4 o'clock, and then Friday from 5 o'clock.
And also, Mediascope is back.
Yes, Mediascope is back.
Talk to us.
Mediascope is back. All things media, tech, and pop culture. It is the 9th season of Mediascope. We just on Wednesday did episode 2, which the first 2 have been amazing. We talk about media, tech, and pop culture news with lots of fun and foolishness. I also often have guests, and so you can tune in on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on any Indie Soup channel, and also on my channels, on Instagram, on my YouTube, on my Facebook, also on my LinkedIn. So you can watch us in several different places.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Lala, hat.
Well, I'm sorry.
Hat game.
Over talking. I got some exciting news. That's why I wanted to just jump on in there. So guys, you can find me at Living the Lala Life, and you also can find me at Realty Goddess. And the reason I put that back in there, guys, is because now you'll also be able to find me on the awesome platform of Fly Nubian Queen Money. We will start our show on Monday through Friday. And it'll be on their network, and it'll be a panel of ladies that come on and talk to you about what's going on in the world. It's going to be about 16 of us. We'll rotate, and I am looking forward to being a part of that too. Thank you, Fly Nubian Queen Network, for accepting me into the show. So I hope I see you there, but I also have to give out a shout out to Dr. Vibe, because he is the one who told me that I needed to go and apply for that. So you can find me at Living the La La Life as well as Realty Goddess.
So when's the debut on Fly Nubian Queen?
Monday at I believe 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, we turned it around quick.
What?
Yeah, we turned it around quick. We turned around quick.
I reached out to Lala via Discord last week. Do you need any help? Oh, okay. They already got it going on. Okay, I was late to the. Okay, so
wonderful.
Yeah. So how long? How long is this going to be? Is it half an hour, 1 hour,
an hour
every day?
Every day, Monday through Friday. And the cool thing about this show, guys, it's not just the Fly Nubian Network money. We talk about everything. So think of like what you see on TV now. We're patterning ourselves where we talk about things that are important to us. We will talk about money. We will talk about entertainment. We'll talk about everything. And it'll be a different perspective from each woman. And it's going to be very interesting because we'll rotate. Like if I can't come on a Tuesday, someone else will be there. So you'll get introduced to so many wonderful ladies that have such expertise in what they do, and just a true sisterhood, which, I love. I love being able to be a part of some powerful women. I hope that I uplift as well as be uplifted within that community as well.
Wonderful. That is amazing.
Yeah, like I'm going, and Jen Marsh says, congratulations, Lala. Wow.
Thank you.
I think in the media biz we call, is that a power play or what, Dr. Tachi?
Beyond power.
Yeah, I'm going.
That is amazing.
Wow. Every day. Wow.
Every day.
For you.
Monday through Friday. And I'm just really excited. We've had some meetings and I got to meet some awesome women, and you're just really in for a treat because it's just a hodgepodge a day. You listen to it on your lunch, and you always have the replays, and you can really learn some things. And I'm excited for this because it's just going to be a wealth of power. Just power hour. I like to call it an hour of power. I always have an hour of power in my day, but this is going to be an additional hour of power.
Wonderful.
I'm just sort of going,
wow.
Yeah. I'm going, okay. Is there a name of the show?
Well, it's Fly Nubian Queen Money, and they may be looking for, we're working through things, so you get to come and grow with us, because as you'll see, we'll be beginning. All of us ladies have never been on before, so you'll see our dynamics and how we click and who's who and what's what, and we'll get to talk about our passions. So come grow with us early. Get in with it and come and talk to us. And we're always open to listening to the audience. What do you want to talk about? What is something that is important to you? What is something that you want to learn as well?
I got so many questions, but that's going to be after the show's finished, because I am really fascinated. I guess one last question. Is it one person on each day, or is it combinations of?
Combination. We're always going to have no less than maybe 5 women at a time.
Oh, that's a lot. That's great.
You know what? Why do I feel, though it's mixed with race, could this be Fly Nubian's answer to The View?
Yes.
Okay. No need for any questions. She said yes.
Done. Okay. Right. I will let both of you ladies go. I'll end it up, but you stay, because Dr. Tachi, we got some questions for you, girlfriend, because you just pulled a major coup there. Because I was saying, when is Lala gonna talk about this? I don't want to announce her big thing. She just rolled it out, family.
This is amazing.
This is another reason to follow Fly Nubian Queen on YouTube. You saw this on YouTube, but now you're gonna see more. And wow. Yeah, this is good. Rich says, thank you all very much. Rich, follow it wherever you're following. Follow here, and also follow on Fly Nubian Queen. That is amazing. Ladies, we'll see you in just a moment. I'm going to close it out. All right. That's it. That's it. Wow. Big announcement there, family. Like, what? 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 Lala's gone big time. Well, at least I can say I knew her when, right? I knew her when. So that's huge. So let's close it out. Primetime Store. The link is there on your screen. It's also in the comments section wherever you're watching on most platforms. Primetime Saturday at Patreon. There's the link there. Again, on a lot of your platforms in the comments section. Join the Primetime Saturday Discord group. Aisha and Lala. And see, that's one of the reasons why. In real time, Lala sent something to our Discord group. Will be of great value. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I host, please email me vibe at the drvibeshow.com. These are all the places you can get a hold of me. Website, I said all the places. And then finally, you can watch replays of this epic conversation, Primetime Saturday, with Aisha and Lala at the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. The Dr. Vibe Show website, thew.com. Fly Nubian Queen. Yes, you can watch replays there too. And also on IndieSoupMedia.tv. There we go. Wow, this has been an amazing show. The only thing that was missing was Aisha, but she's celebrating her daughter's graduation. So again, hope they're having a great time. I'm pretty sure she'll be back next week. And something tells me Aisha's going to probably want to get a show on Fly Nubian Queen too. Or maybe she'll be joining Lala and the family there. This is good. And Fitness IQ says, great convo. Excellent as always. Thank you. All of you made it an epic conversation. So this is how we close it out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And one last thing, I was watching a gentleman named Andre C. Hatchett on one of Dr. Boyce's platforms but in the last few weeks. He said a lot of great things, but one of the things that really stuck out, he said, when you get good at the boring things of life, life becomes easier. Think about it. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Well, good. And thanks for giving the most important thing you have in your life to us, time, and spread it out. Share it out. God bless.